why you didn't come up. So let's go here. Let's start it all over. You ready?
I'm ready.
Let me hear you real quick.
Test. Hello.
You're there. All right. You can hear it coming out of speakers?
Yes, sir.
All right. Here we go.
It's time for the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan. Blake Sloan, one of the top real estate agents, not only on the Grand Strand, but in the world. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, the Wall Street Journal, NBC, and many other publications. And now, the Expert Advantage Real Estate Show with Blake Sloan.
Good morning, everyone. Brand new show this week. All kind of stuff going on. I tell you, the market is back on fire in terms of new properties going to contract. We've seen like a 20% increase the last 3 weeks. And so we'll dig into that and kind of take a look at what's happening. We just had the busiest week in real estate in terms of new properties going to contract since July 1st, 2024. And it really came down to a 20% increase in the last 3 weeks. We watch it every day. And so we'll talk about what's happening that we just hit a 4-month low this past week with interest rates. So you're seeing the spring market come in earlier rather than usual. And so we'll talk about that, kind of what's going on. Look at some of those numbers. They've been amazingly impressive, huge numbers in terms of properties going into contract. 110 properties, I think the last 7 days are $500,000 going under contract, 5.6 million, all kind of stuff we'll talk about, kind of give you the insight of what's going on. Like I mentioned, interest rates just hit a 4-month low, down 62 basis points since January 13th, which is awesome news for home buyers, awesome news for home sellers. You're seeing a lot more people jump off the fence who've been on the sidelines, which is amazing. So also had something last week's show we just didn't get a chance to get to. It was a horror story where it's actually a friend of mine was the agent where the seller went with for sale by owner, cost himself $60,000. We see this all the time, just a nickel holding up a dollar. And we'll share the exact numbers and details so you can kind of get a feel. And this happens over and over and over and over again. And that's just something we'll talk about. Also, a national article and data coming where a lot of homeowners have been leaving some of their hard-earned equity on the table, and just talks about, do you actually know what your home's worth? And we're looking at the average price increase in the United States as well as South Carolina the last 5 years. And for many people, it's shocking. For some, it's not. Obviously, some areas perform better than others. For example, some of the more popular areas or more coastal areas tend to perform better than some of the more inland rural areas. And so you want to just look at those numbers, but it's huge numbers. South Carolina, 70+% increase. Some areas, 100+% increase. And so we'll talk about that, what's going on with that. As usual, some amazing success stories. Our team's absolutely crushing it, working, really burning at both ends as this spring market is here. People are buying, people are flying in like crazy, and you can see it all across the entire MLS here, which is amazing. We're also looking to hire on our team. We have amazing real estate school. We get you discounts on license if you want. We actually have a scholarship for people who are, sharp, who are hungry, who want to work. And we have amazing training. We have the number one real estate team in Myrtle Beach. We have very, very high standards, very, very high expectations, but amazing culture. So if you're thinking about getting real estate or thinking about switching careers, if you want to join the number one team Myrtle Beach, reach out to me. You can also go to sloanscholarship.com. And as usual, we have a big investment fund with millions of dollars looking to buy properties instantly for cash. We'll talk about that in today's show, along with everything Myrtle Beach real estate.
For any new listeners, just to give you an update on just who Blake is, it's an amazing story. Industry leaders have dubbed him the real estate whiz kid. Been featured in Forbes, Wall Street Journal, NBC, Realtor Magazine, and many other national publications. He has been personally endorsed by Sean Hannity and Glenn Beck. One of those by itself is an accomplishment, but all of them together is unprecedented. Last week, we learned a little about how you and your team work and how a good portion of your success has come from the trademark systems you have developed to help both buyers and sellers here in our market. Recap quickly for anyone new to the show what those are exactly and a quick overview of how they work, Blake.
Absolutely, Rick. And that's just the whole why behind the show. And we'll talk about today, even one of today's success stories was a previous horror story. And it just goes to show like how everyone makes this massive mistake. Thankfully, in this situation, we were able to help correct it before they really paid the ultimate price. And the two biggest prices you pay is they either sell the house for less than it's worth, and they think they don't realize they can get more for it. They leave $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on the table, or they're stuck on the two properties, paying payments on two properties, and it bleeds them dry. In this situation, we'll talk about in a few minutes, where we had somebody who bought another house, They use a friend, a different agent, no showings, no offers, nothing for 6 months. Well, in the meantime, one of the owners, the husband, lost his job. And so they burned through all their savings and were basically obviously very, very, very stressed out, very, very difficult situation. And was being told that things were getting done, the property would sell, and guess what? It didn't sell. And so here's why I do this show, for those exact same reasons, because everyone makes this same mistake. And it doesn't matter how fluent they are. I see all the time, for some reason, the more fluent they are, the more they make this mistake. They just think they want to go with like the random housewife who lives in the neighborhood who sold 2 houses because she lives there, not realizing that they're just a very, very small fish in a small pond. But here's what everybody does. They make the mistake of thinking that every real estate agent is the same. It could not be any further from the truth, right? Just like any doctor, any lawyer. If you've ever been to court, you realize there's a big difference in lawyers, right? Some are super, super aggressive. Some are really good. Some are detail oriented. Some are not quite as hungry in terms of how hard they work and how much detail they go into and how much research they do. And so the lawyer you choose typically helps you determine the outcome in the case. It's the same exact thing you're dealing with real estate and your largest asset. And people don't realize that. They just think that, oh, the realtors are the same. And here's the thing. Most of them probably are very similar. The problem is most agents in our MLS sell 4 homes per year. That's 1 per quarter. That's not a whole lot of properties sold. That's not enough money to eat with, much less spend in marketing to help get your property sold. And so I share that mission here. And it's the whole why, if like anyone takes anything from this show. And I made a promise a long time ago to myself and a couple other people that I'm going to talk about at least once every single week until I don't get that problem anymore. And guess what? It still happens over and over and over. And thankfully, like in this success story, talk about in a little bit, it actually worked out for us. But most cases, what happens is they list to somebody, marketing's not getting done, they're not managing the variables. And so what happens is they list a property. The only choice they have is continue dropping the price, dropping the price, dropping the price, dropping the price. And then ultimately it does sell. They feel they're successful. They don't realize they left 40 grand on the table that they could have sold more for. And so here's the deal. The most important decision that anyone makes when you're selling your properties, the largest assets that most people have, right, is the agent you choose, period. It's not the wall color, not the grass quality. It comes down to the agent you choose and specifically how they execute from A to Z. What most people don't realize when you're selling a property, there's 118 different variables from A to Z. If each one's handled correctly, it puts money in your pocket, property gets sold. And those could be lots of great things you have to do in the right order, right photos, the right photo order, answering the phone, people call in, they call leads back. And so if anything's handled incorrectly, aka the agent drops the ball at any point, and that could be things like not good photos, wrong photo order, when people call the for sale sign, does somebody actually answer the phone? When somebody goes online for a web lead and submits, they even call them back. And it's crazy. We just talked about a few weeks ago, nationally, 50% of inquiries where somebody called in and went to a website did not even get a call back from an agent. Why is that? Well, it's not because the agent doesn't want to. The problem is with the business model. And so most people don't realize you have one agent is trying to juggle 100 plus variables for every single listing. It's simply impossible for one person to do all of that on one listing, much less 10 listings. And so the problem is what happens is they just get what they can. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And then what happens is you lose your hard-earned equity because you have an agent who's basically running the entire McDonald's in their front register, the drive-thru and French fries at the same time. Very, very inefficient. It worked in the 80s and 90s, but for some reason, the industry has not adapted and adjusted like it should have to keep up with all the new things that are needed, all the technology, all the processes, all the websites, all the things that they have. And so it's a very, very broken business model, which is why in our MLS, you see almost 50% of properties don't sell the first time they're listed. They're listed, it's 6 months later. Guess what? Not sold. They have to relist with someone else or basically re-up with the same agent. And it's a massive problem for a lot of people. And so what I did when I got the business, like, man, there's got to be a better way to do this. This is very just antiquated in terms of how it operates. And I looked at what people did outside of real estate, hired coaches from outside of real estate to help me really build a business model that was based on traditional brick and mortar businesses, where basically you have a team of specialists. Each person specializes in what they do so they can execute at the highest level, and you manage those variables proactively to create maximum leverage for the client. It's exactly what we do. I designed this thing called the Guaranteed Sold System, the only proven system that sells twice as fast, and for 20% more money than traditional methods, and it works very, very, very well. I designed it. We licensed other parts of the country, and it is amazing. Absolutely blows people away when they see it. And on the flip side, there's 100 plus variables for buyers out there. It's still a difficult market. There's a lot to navigate. It does move fast in many cases, right? If you're buying a house, somebody who sells one a quarter, they have no clue what the pulse is going on. And so you want to make sure that you have someone who's experienced and understands all the variables and has people and systems in place to manage that. So for buyers out there, we have the unfair advantage home buying system. Gets you priority access to foreclosures, distress deals, desperate sellers, the absolute best negotiation and purchase price, as well as home inspection to get you that closing table successfully with a maximum competitive advantage. And so if you want to know how it works, reach out to me. You at least owe it to yourself to investigate. I had somebody this past week who was a realtor from up north. They saw it and it was absolutely blown away. But what it does is it stacks the dominoes in favor of the client. We have two main things that back it up: a large team of people, a team of specialists who manage those variables up front, and also technology on the back end with software and things that we built to make sure that everything happens the same way every single time, giving you the maximum competitive advantage. So if you want to know more, reach out, call me 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com anytime. We're right back in a second.
With every election, there are issues that directly impact your family's future. Hey, your friend Sean Hannity here, and the same is true for your real estate transactions. Now, when you sell your home, you need to speak to one of the agents right here in town that will get you the most money with the least hassle. I'm talking about Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. Now, knowing the facts when you vote and when you sell your home is always important. That's why you should check out the value of your home in today's market. When you know the accurate value, you are better equipped to make an informed decision with all the options laid out for you. You know, options like an instant offer, or lay out your timeline and take advantage of their guaranteed sale program, or just put it on the market and get more money than you expected. Just go to the website, find out your home's value in seconds. Call Blake Sloan today at 808-SOLD. That's 808-SOLD. Or online at BlakeSloan.com. That's BlakeSloan.com. And get your home's real value in today's market in just seconds, and then you can start packing.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corbin. I'm excited to connect with Blake Sloan, the only real estate agent in Myrtle Beach that I recommend. You offer several options to home sales, which really takes away the stress.
That's right. For sellers in a time crunch, you can agree to sell it by a certain date, pay cash for a home, or even rent it.
That's great. And if the seller has a bit more time?
Use our proven marketing plan to sell it for the highest price.
Work with my friend Blake Sloan and get your home sold on your terms.
Welcome back, Blake Sloan Radio Show. Brand new market numbers, and they are hot. I'm telling you, it's crazy right now what's going on. Obviously, it's very much interest rate driven. We'll talk about that, what's going on with that. But looking back, we talk about two types of numbers in the show. We talk about the windshield numbers, like what's in front of us. And those are properties that are going under contract every single day. We track it in 7-day periods. Been doing this since COVID-19, the lockdown started, because as a business owner, I was trying to figure out, hey, real time, how do I know what's going on? Because what most people use is what we call the rear view mirror numbers. That's what closed last month. The problem is if it closed last month, it went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that. And so if you make real-time decisions based on data that's 90 days old, obviously sometimes that doesn't work out for you. And so we track both of those, track it every single day in our office. We go over it in our huddle with our team every morning. And I'll tell you, it's smoking hot right now. So let's just last 7 days in our MLS, 570 properties for $221,296,000 under contract. We talked about this, remember, any previous listeners, anytime sales over $200 million for a 7-day period, the market is smoking hot. That's typically like June, July, August numbers. And so when I track this, obviously, a spreadsheet every single day. The last time it was this high was July 1st, 2024. And so we're seeing that between February and March, which is amazing. And again, the big reason is we saw interest rates drop 64 basis points between January and the end of February. It went down 50 basis points in just 2.5 weeks in the mid to second part of February. So we'll talk about that, but huge numbers right now. The thing about that, that's a 20% increase just really in the last 3 weeks. Overall, last week's show was a huge, about 13% increase at 542. It's even up more right now at 570. But check this out. Some big time properties going under contract, big money flowing in to Myrtle Beach right now. One property at $5.6 million on Ocean Boulevard. One property at $3.7 million under contract. One property at $2.1 million under contract. 19 properties over $1 million went under contract in the last 7 days, and 106 properties over $500,000 under contract just in the last 7 days, which is huge. Anytime you're 100 plus properties over 500,000, things are rocking, and you're seeing a lot of high-end clients, a lot of big-time money coming in, and that's something to keep watching. for sure. Also, inventory has been climbing, part of that spring market, right? People kind of thaw out after the holidays. They start getting their property back on the market. And so even though sales are up, inventory is much higher than it was last year. So it's a really good opportunity for buyers out there because there's more to choose from. And as sellers are doing it, you want to get involved as the window is open because there's lots of buyers. Right now, they're saying in January, from housingwire.com, big analysts that they said if rates drop 1% when they were basically mid to high sevens, that you're looking at about 6 million more home buyers who will get back into the marketplace who are on the sidelines. They're either looking to move up, move down, they're on the sidelines. So right now we've seen 62 basis point drop since that. So you're looking about 2 to 3 million more home buyers are jumping in right now. Since we've seen rates go back into the sixes. And so that's where that window comes from. That's something that's super important for us to look and understand if I'm picking strategy for myself as a home seller or even as a home buyer, because obviously as 2 to 3 million more buyers get into the marketplace, what happens to competition? It increases, drives prices up a little bit, but there is a window because you have a backlog of people who've wanted to move, but they've been waiting for rates to come down. And now that's kind of what you've been seeing, which is awesome news. If you're thinking about selling, if you're waiting for the spring market, now is the time you need to get that lined up immediately. If you've been on the market with someone else before and expired, did not work out well, call me right now on my cell. We're working today, 843-808-SOLD. Just say, look, looking to get this taken care of. My property's in the market before, it didn't sell. What do you do different? And so that's just something that I want to share with anybody because it is a very interest rate driven marketplace right now for everyone out there. And we'll talk in a minute about what rates did most recently. If you look at closed sales last month, again, remember they closed in February. And so they went under contract 30 to 60 days prior to that, some cases longer, but typically it's 30 to 60 days. If you look at closed sales for February, single family resale homes, they're down 2.9%, which is typical, right? It's very kind of slow November, December. And so the December is pretty slow, we saw. And so obviously you're seeing that play out in terms of closed deals. If you look at sales price, up 1.3% for resale homes for median price right now, $385,000. Average sale price up 2.6% from the same time last year. It's at $496,000. It is still down from the peak last year, which was in May at $520,000. Supply of homes is up. It's up 25% from the same time last year, which means a little more competition. Right now, 4.5 months of inventory. It is up month versus month. And again, that always typically happens where December is one of the lowest. People take their house off the market for the holidays. So in December, there's 4.2 months, January 4.4, and February 4.5 months of inventory. The average days on market right now for a property to sell is 116 days. So if a property actually sold in February for a resale home, it was 116 days. That's a long time. That's a lot longer than most homeowners are expecting or understand. And so you want to understand that from a marketing standpoint, from an agent that you choose, right? Because here's the crazy part. You have 50% chance your property is selling based on data. And so half the properties don't sell, they relist or pull off the market, whatever it is. Of the ones that do sell, statistically, it's taken 116 days to sell, which is up 11% from the same time last year. What does that mean? It's why you need a good agent. It's why you need somebody who can help differentiate, because as there's more properties in the market, you want to make sure you can get differentiated. And the biggest problem that any homeowner is having right now is this equation right here. I talk about this all the time. My team, our number one competitor, right, is really a friend. So we have a friend in the business. They're a part-time bartender. They're doing real estate part-time, right? Whatever it is, delivering pizzas and doing real estate part-time. And so everyone wants to list their friend. The problem is when you list their friend, you look at the numbers, they're selling less than 4 homes a year. So if you look at the number one problem for any home seller is that the average amount of showings a listing gets the entire 6 months in the MLS is 3.8 showings per listing, down 19% from the same time last year. Well, the mathematics don't work out too well for the average agent and the average person using an average agent, because to get a contract on average, it takes 12.2 showings. So recap, average listing gets 3.8, let's say 4. To get a contract, they need 12.2. So you need 3 times the amount of showings that the listings are getting to get a contract. It's simple math. And so what I do is I drive massive amounts of traffic through our sales team that makes 16,000 phone calls a week, right? 1,000 plus leads a month. And we have massive amounts of money we're spending all across the globe to bring in buyers, and we're able to increase traffic for the property, which increases the chances that someone pulls a trigger and they write the offer on the property. It's very, very simple. And what our business model does is allow us to play that game the right way. I learned very, very early in the business. My 20th year in business here started January 2005. Grew up in the business, mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, everyone sold it. But the reality is I noticed, like, no matter how hard you try, You can't open the cabinets and point to the countertops and people make them buy it, right? They know in 2 seconds if they like it or not. And where I'm like, man, there's got to be a way I can move the needle. And what we did was just bring more people in, more qualified people, allows you to increase the chances of it sell, because that obviously increases who likes it. And so that's what I do. That's what I'm best at, is kind of doing that piece of increasing traffic and buyers. So closed sales for condos, they're taking a pretty decent hit, down 15% last month for condos. They've had big challenges with HOAs, with assessments, with things like that. Look at sales price, average sale price, pretty flat, which is great, down 0.1%, which is not much, at 276,000. Median sale price, 0.2%, so pretty flat, which is great, at 231,000. Supply of condos, though, is through the roof. It's a real buyer's market at 7.4 months. You got 42% increase in the amount of condos in the market. So here's the thing, like, you got to make sure it's being marketed right, that it has great agents. Otherwise, the only thing you can do is just keep dropping price like crazy. And the same challenge you're seeing there. Right now, the average condo gets only 2.2 showings per listing for the entire time it's listed. To get a contract, it takes 10.2. And so you need 5 times the amount of showings than the average condo gets to get an offer on it. There lies the equation that must be solved to get success as a home seller and a condo seller. So you want to know how it works. You want to see the numbers and the data yourself. You want to make sure you and I just shot a documentary recently about real estate. And I got that question where most home sellers don't know what to ask. The only question they ever ask us is, how much do you charge? Which is the wrong question. You want to ask, other things. Obviously, that's part of it, but that's not the main question. You want the most value, but you don't want the cheapest agent. You want somebody, how much you spend in marketing, right? How many buyers do you have? How can you increase value of my property? How much traffic can you drive to my property? Those are the type of things that you want to know. How many properties have you sold similar to this? And those are the type of things you want to ask about. But the one thing driving all this right now is interest rates. This past week, we hit an amazing 4-month low, which is awesome. It's 6.64%. This past week, which is down 62 basis points from the January high, which is also the 2025 high, which is amazing numbers. It bumped back up the last couple of days of the week. Right now, 30-year fix at 6.79%, which is still great in the sixes. A 15-year fix right now, 6.21%. A 30-year jumbo loan, 7% even. A 30-year FHA loan right now, 6.19%. And a 30-year VA at 6.22%. So lots of windows opening right now. Lots of buyers jump back in. We're talking 2 to 3 million more home buyers if rates continue to track down, which many people are saying they are. And so if you want to get your stuff together, reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD. Even questions you have, just random stuff, we're more than happy to help. We're going to serve the community like we have been for a long time. BlakeSloan.com or 843-808-SOLD. Quick break, right back in a second.
Hey, WRNN listeners, Clay Travis here. As investors in real estate, Buck and I both know exactly what to look for to find the agent with the best tools and marketing to get the highest sales price possible for a home.
Totally true, Clay. And here in Myrtle Beach, that agent is our friend Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group. If you need to sell a home and buy a new one, ask Blake about his guarantee.
Get this, Blake guarantees to sell your home at a price and deadline you agree to, or he'll buy it himself. And since you know when your current home will sell by and for how much, you can buy your next home without worrying about getting stuck with 2 mortgages.
There's simply no other agent in the market who has a guarantee that will line up against what Blake Sloan can offer you. So when you're looking to sell and buy, he is your guy. Read nearly 750 5-star reviews by Googling Sloan Realty Group. Give Blake a call today and start packing. That's Sloan Realty Group.
And tune in to Blake's show Saturdays at 9 a.m. and Sundays at 11:30 a.m.
Hey, Myrtle Beach, it's Gary LaVox, lead singer of Rascal Flatts. When I'm Moving On won the award for ACM Song of the Year, it struck a chord with folks who understand the challenges that come with life's big changes. For many, that happens when it comes time to sell their home. If you're moving on, you want a real estate agent who will make selling your home easy and stress-free. An agent who's willing to let you out of the contract if you're not happy with their service. That's why in Myrtle Beach, I can tell you that Blake Sloan of Sloan Realty Group markets your home on a whole different level. Now listen, Blake is so confident in his ability to sell your home quickly and for more money that he guarantees to sell it or he'll buy it himself. If you're moving on, trust Blake to provide your family a stress-free home sale experience. Find Blake Sloan online at blakesloan.com, or you can call him at 843-808-SOLD. Start packing.
Welcome back to Blake Sloan Real Estate Show. Hot buyers alert. My team and I work in a ridiculous amount of home buyers looking at properties here, the Myrtle Beach Grand Strand area. We put our money where our mouth is. Look for anything from $250,000 to $4.4 million. If you're thinking about selling, give us a call immediately. 843-808-SOLD. That's 843-808-SOLD. Been doing this for a long time. And years ago, I said, hey, look, let's just put our money where our mouth is and tell them exactly how many buyers that we have that are looking. And this is how the market started shifting a few years ago, and there's just less inventory. But we outspend the average agent 100 to 1 from a marketing standpoint. How do we do that? Well, we have a team of specialists, right? 25 plus buyers agents, and all day long, every day, they just make phone calls. They reach out to agents, to buyers. They match up buyers and sellers. That's how we're able to move the needle, like 16,000 phone calls a week. And so because of that, we're able to outspend the average agent and spend 6 figures a month in marketing because we're very, very efficient in the follow-up, very, very efficient in the, obviously follow through. And we have a large team to do so. It's a massive advantage for home sellers because the average agent, they don't start marketing your property until they put a for sale sign in the yard. With us, we're spending really 6 figures a month, tens of thousands of dollars to drive traffic from all across the globe before you ever call us. And so the first thing that we want to do is match it up to one of our buyers, and we have a technology that does that. Reverse engineers most likely buyer based on their previous search patterns. It scores them on a percentage match 1 to 100, and our team gets on the horn and starts making phone calls. And so right now, active home buyers with a username, password, account on our website, 79,693, 79,693 active home buyers from all over. Right now, I got Rusty from Lowell, Massachusetts. I got David Weaver from Canton, Ohio. I got Terry Clark from Taylor, South Carolina. I got Matt and Julie from Myrtle Beach. I got Valerie Wright from Conway. I got Angie from San Francisco, California. I got Timothy from Apex, North Carolina. I got Drexel Hill, PA with Buck. I got Brandon Manis from Lexington, North Carolina. And I got Lynn Patterson from here locally in Conway, South Carolina, all on the site. Lynn, for example, has been on our site 80 different visits. I look at 73 different properties. And her average sale price right now is about $312,000. So that's people that we have, and we're able to match up and score. So if you're thinking about selling, you have a mom, dad, aunt, uncle, grandpa, grandma, anybody you know, if you like them, don't like them, coworker, whatever, if they think about selling real estate and say, look, you got to call my buddy Blake. If they mention it, do me a favor, save me your phone, and Blake Sloan sold, 843-808-SOLD, and just send them my number and say, look, call my buddy Blake. That means more than us than anything to have people call us from the radio. And right now is the most important time of the year because the spring market, interest rates are down, and you're looking at potentially 2 to 3 million more buyers getting into the marketplace right now. So really quick, awesome success story. 2 types here. One's just basically like an estate. Don's father passed away and left Don 2 properties in Georgetown. Don lives in Ohio and really had no personal use for the properties. He didn't want to go through the hassle of doing a traditional real estate listing initially, bringing tons of buyers through and have to make tedious repairs to the properties. Don reached out to a few investors, but quickly realized they were only paying pennies on the dollar, which most of them do, right? Thankfully, Don heard about mine, Blake Sloan's guaranteed sold system, gave us a call. We met with Don. We already had hundreds of buyers who were interested in buying properties just like his in as-is condition, kind of like the ones I mentioned earlier, the number. And we came in, designed a custom plan, launched our global marketing blitz, professional photos, did a quick sale program with him, which is kind of a hybrid type model. We brought Don 2 offers on his properties from outside buyers. He chose to go the full price as is offer. The best part, he didn't take anything out the property, didn't move anything off either one of the properties that he had, and was able to get it sold from a different state and put tens and tens of thousands of more dollars in his pocket than the investors were offering him before. And so there is a hybrid. We have basically 3 options. We have really quickly, we have instant cash offer, we have a quick sale to our investor program, and also a traditional most money sale you can do too. This is awesome. Justin and they own property in Conway. They moved to a different home they just purchased. They purchased a new one before selling their previous one in Conway. They ultimately put the other one for sale with a friend, listed for 6 months, no action, no offers. And unfortunately, during that time period, Justin lost his job, and they were burning through all their savings, making payments on multiple different properties. At their wits' end, the listing expired, heard about Blake Sloan's guaranteed sold system on the radio, called us. We shared them, already had hundreds of buyers, designed a custom plan, launched a global marketing blitz. Check it out. Full price offer on their home within a couple weeks. They didn't have to worry about 2 mortgages, and we helped them out at that same price. So reach out, call me, 843-808-SOLD or BlakeSloan.com. We'll see you back here next week.